So to add fuel to the fire of, how do we say, fiction peddlers that are notable people. What was it? Yesterday we had Alan Greenspan talking about talking about what's happening in Venezuela is coming to the U.S. That's what he said, which is crazy. Now we have the Prime Minister of Japan. Japanese Prime Minister Abe, or is it Abe? I'm calling him Abe. Not because he's Honest Abe, but maybe in this case he is Honest Abe. Predicts global economic catastrophe is imminent. This is from Silver Doctors today. And again, Jeff Berwick, dollarvigilante.com. He's the same guy that reported the thing yesterday. He's not just making this up. He's showing you where he's getting it from. We continue to report on important mainstream investors, professional and private, who have warned about an impending global financial catastrophe. Now, you can add Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, I'm calling him Abe, to that list. George Soros, Stanley Druckenmiller, Carl Icahn, among others, have all made dire statements. You can now add him. And again, you can add Alan Greenspan because he said it too the other day. They've also reconfigured their portfolios and taken positions in gold and silver and shorted the market. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I'm going to say it again. These big boys, billionaires, they don't run around here making mistakes. And when you see old Soros especially increasing his gold and silver holdings and dumping, paper shares of banks and whatnot, stock market, basically the general stock market, you need to pay attention. The latest to join this list of doomsayers, again, is Japanese Prime Minister Abe. I know that's not how you pronounce his last name, as I said, but he's getting called Abe today. Because this one, what he says, he might be considered Honest Abe today. This past Thursday, at the G7 meeting, he warned about the upcoming global crisis. He was trying to generate support for global fiscal stimulus, i.e. QE, according to reports. He told G7 members that the present times reminded him of the post-Lehman Brothers era in 2008. Lehman went bankrupt in September of that year, and by the end of 2009, stock markets lost as much as half of their value. He even displayed a number of charts supporting his position that we are on the cusp of a massive collapse. He showed how commodities have now sunk 55%, the exact same amount they fell during the last crisis, during the Shemitah year of 2008. He also warned how indicators in emerging market growth have slowed to near 2008 levels as well. He wanted the rest of the G7 to issue a public warning about what he believes is going to happen to his country and to the world from an economic standpoint. Instead, his comments received a near media blackout. Some media mentioned it, but certainly not as headline news. We didn't even hear about it until today, 5 days later. You'd think this would be pretty big news. The Prime Minister of one of the biggest economies in the world just made a presentation saying we are on the brink of collapse, not only in Japan, but worldwide, and it was mostly swept under the rug. Well, considering everything these days, up is down, left is right, bad news, markets rally, good news, markets rally, no news, markets rally, gold and silver get hit. Bad news, gold and silver should rise, they get hit. They start to rise a bit more, okay, looks like they're finally in a bull leg, up, nope, back down to bear territory. Not that even matters, because it's all rigged anyways. And just imagine what he's talking about starts to take place, not even all at once, just like a little Venezuela. Not even to that extent, because that's pretty extreme over there. But, the problems that Venezuela was having, say, 2 years ago, last year, and then this country has that problem, and then another country has that problem. Sooner or later, people are going to realize all these markets, controlled or not, are going down. I don't trust my money in this system. I don't trust the government with my money in that system because they're always going to try to find a way to get it. And even if they don't, I'm stuck with it. It's like a freaking boat anchor tied to my leg, like a 401k. And when the market goes down, I'm going down with it and I can't get out of it. You got a job, sir? Yes, I do. Of course. You handle my company's 401k, so that's why I'm calling you. Yes, I have a job. You don't qualify to take your 401k out early. I'm willing to pay the 10%. I'll pay it. Matter of fact, I'll pay 15. Just get me out of it. Nope. Sorry, sir. Got a job? No financial hardship? Nope. Can't take it out. Sorry about your luck. I'm going to urge everybody who has a 401k currently, as soon as freaking possible, try to look into a self-directed 401k. And if you can set yourself up with that, you can then take your company's or whatever 401k you have and roll it into that. There should be no penalty, should be no fees, no nothing. And essentially you get to control it. And a buddy of mine, a neighbor actually, we were talking the other day, he's going to do it. And as long as you don't have $250,000 or more in there, the IRS isn't really monitoring or checking or anything. They have no, it's like on the honor system. The honor system? Pfft, please. Give me my money. So, mainstream media explained that he actually needed to raise the alarm because he wanted to put off a significant tax increase in Japan. But as we pointed out recently, billionaire bond investor Bill Gross concurs with him, certainly when it comes to Japan. He said in an interview that Japan is not really solvent anymore and that Japan's central bank needs to buy Japanese public debt and retire it. He says you can see that report here if you'd like to read it about Bill Gross, and I think I'll go ahead and link this article for you. Imagine if Barack Obama made a dire plea at the G7 that everyone should prepare for economic Armageddon and even brought up facts and data in a presentation to support his position. It'd send world stock markets plunging. Instead, Barack touts that anyone saying the U.S. economy is doing poorly again is peddling fiction. I'm telling you, that word is going to go down in the history books. You're going to be able to just type into Google peddling fiction, and it's going to take you to whitehouse.gov/Barack Obama. But when the Japanese prime minister says it, it's barely even reported. There's a reason. The same globalist elites who are orchestrating the coming collapse own all the major media companies. And in case you wonder how many, there's 6 companies that own them all. Across the world, 6 companies that own them all. They don't want Joe the plumber and Main Street to get an inkling that something is wrong until it's too late, just like 2008. We want you to find out after the fact and worry about it after the fact, while we've already cashed out of our stocks and bonds and shares and everything else and let the empty bag fall over your head. It makes perfect sense within the context of what we understand about Shemitah trends and Jubilee 2016. As Jubilee 2016 is a year meant to put the building blocks of global government into place, the last thing G7 leaders want is to overly alarm people and thus come under pressure to prepare for an economic catastrophe. The idea is not to prepare for economic catastrophe. It could even be that his role was somehow pre-planned to warn leaders and thus generate headlines that would show discussions at the highest level. The IMF and the World Bank have also warned of an impending crisis. Even Alan Greenspan, post-collapse, they can always point to his warnings to say they understood what could happen, but that none of these warnings were picked up in a meaningful way. Now, if an gorilla, gets shot after a zombified mother accidentally drops her toddler into a gorilla cage, well, that's news that everyone must know. That's mainstream. It's going viral. A prime minister of one of the G7 nations, for God's sakes, Japan, coming out saying we've got economic problems. I brought a presentation with me. I'm not just talking. Here, look at these charts. Look at the stuff. Barely a freaking peep. Guerrilla mainstream media. Headline news. That's what happens when you live in Banana Republic, which is owned and controlled by the elites who own and control the media to feed you the fluff garbage. Gorilla. What are my thoughts on the gorilla? Well, I watched the video. There's all these YouTubers out there. Some with huge channels. You guys want my opinion on the gorilla thing? Yeah, we're going to watch it together, and I'm going to comment on it. And yeah, that gorilla, man. This is, to me, honestly, this is the equivalent of the Titanic. And a few people understood what it meant when the Titanic hit a massive iceberg and is now sinking. Like 2%. 98% still play the music, dancing, having a good old time. I'm there. Wait, hold on. Over here. Excuse me. Everybody. Over here. Prime Minister. Alan Greenspan. George Soros. Some of the club. They're all talk. Oh, it's not important? It's not important. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a terrorist attack that's taking the news right now? What's going on? Oh, a kid fell in a gorilla enclosure. Oh, gotcha. That's huge. Big news there. Huge. For this reason, most people will be blindsided by the collapse, just like they were in 2008, and I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. I'm not going to be caught, not even kind of, as you know. And all of you subscribers, you won't either, because you wouldn't be subscribed to me right now if you thought otherwise. You know there's something wrong. Some people won't be, however. Many of them are subscribers to the Dollar Vigilante newsletter. Not only will they be more prepared to survive the coming chaos, but many have already enriched themselves by positioning in our recommended investments and trades in precious metals, gold stocks, Bitcoin, and more. You might be thinking it's too late, like this new subscriber who posted in our subscribers-only Facebook group. And he leaves a testimonial. But anyways, if you want to read more about this or that first link with, was it Bill Gross? I'll be linking this in my description box on YouTube, and you can kind of take a peek there if you wish. Otherwise, stay tuned, because old J Snip's doing 2 videos a day, and I am certain you will be informed of what in the hell's going on pretty damn quick by subscribing to old J Snip. Another day, another story. Take care.